What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Draft week is upon us, and I figure I want to do at least one more of the new realistic rebuilds here in Madden 19. And this one here is more one that's closer to my heart because I've never really played with this guy at any point during the Madden 19 cycle, and that is Nick Foles, Mr. BD end, moving from my Philadelphia Eagles to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Got the real face scan looking pretty good. And we're going to try to rebuild the Jags with Nick Foles as their quarterback. I mean, when we go from like a base rebuild stand, he's 29. It's incredibly difficult to rebuild with a 29-year-old quarterback. It's never going to be in your plans. There might have been a scenario or two where it came up that he could potentially be our QB, but I've never actually gone through with it. And I feel now, the Jags are, because they get Nick Foles, they're almost an adopted team of mine now in the AFC. Like, I'm not going to really pull for the Jags, but if I'm ever watching a game as a neutral and Nick Foles is their starting quarterback, you better believe I'm going to be pulling for him because Nick Foles is a Philadelphia Eagle legend. So look at how the roster is shaped up post free agency. They got Nick Foles at quarterback. You still have Leonard Fournette as a running back. I will say, for every rebuild that we do, injuries are turned off. So there's a big bonus for Leonard Fournette, who has struggled with injuries. At wide receiver, there's just a bunch of guys. I'm really hoping for this rebuild we don't have to draft any wide receivers and we could just build these guys up into nice stars. Like in my mock drafts, I've had the Jags getting a wide receiver in DK Metcalf a couple times, and I think in real life that could benefit them. But the fact that we got Marquise Lee, who's 26, that's not a terrible age. He's quick. D.D. Westbrook has that quick dev, and I've used D.D. Westbrook a couple times. He's really good in the sim. Keelan Cole, he's 25 with a quick. They got Chris Conley coming over from the Chiefs. He's just a 77 normal. And then you got DJ Chark, height, weight, speed, wide receiver, also has a quick depth. So there's more than enough talent in here from a Madden rebuild sense that we shouldn't have to allocate any big-time draft assets at wide receiver. Definitely need a tight end. Offensive line's a work in progress. Cam Robinson here, 74 quick. Hopefully we can develop him. Norwell and Linder are definitely the two constants on the offensive line. And here's actually what we did in the last rebuild, and it's what we're going to do here again. That is a gigantic center at 6'6", 315 pounds. So what we know in the Madden sim is that centers, you can have the worst center in the league. He will give up like 1 or 2 sacks. So we're going to actually flex out Brandon Linder to tackle. And, I mean, you can even do the same thing with Norwell if we really wanted to. They have the length to play tackle. Well, we're going to move Linder because the centers are essentially, if you're building, here's a late game tip and trick. If you're going to have one player that's the weak spot of your offensive line, be the center, at least in Madden. Defensive end, so we got Calais Campbell. He's very old, but he still is playing at a very high level and usually is really good in the sim. Yannick Ngakoue, nice young defensive edge there. We got Marcel Darius, and what I did was I converted Taven Bryan from an end to a tackle, and he will start alongside Darius. And Aubrey Jones is not bad, but actually what I'm going to do with Jones, put him on the trade block. We'll put him up on the trade block, see what kind of value we can get there. The linebacking core of Leon Jacobs. If we were usering in the games, Leon Jacobs, I've had him in like 2 of my franchises. He's really, really good. We have Miles Jack and Jake Ryan in the linebacking core. They play a 4-3, so maybe we can move like Jake Ryan, one of these guys outside. He has a quick dev for whatever reason, so let's actually just do that. From a sim standpoint, oh, he goes up to an 82. There we go. Telvin Smith is good, but at 27, that's like the breaking point. 27 is a rough age for a rebuild. In the secondary, we got Jalen Ramsey, who in my opinion still is the best cornerback in football. AJ Boye is pretty decent. Beyond that, you're probably going to need to find a third corner. No more free safety. They got rid of Barry Church. I think he was just started at free. Or was it Tashawn Gibson? One of those two. They let walk in free agency, so we do need a new free safety. I don't think Jared Wilson, 73 normal, is going to be the guy. But at strong safety, my safeties always develop on a rebuild. We got Ronnie Harrison. He's 21, 74 quick out of Alabama. We should be able to make that work. So all in all, man, very interesting roster for us to try to rebuild. But finally, I get to play with Nick Foles in a Madden game. And let's hope we go on a playoff push within the next, he's not going to retire within a 5-year rebuild. He'll be 34 when all's said and done. But I definitely want to get a game with Nick Foles. And that, I'm telling you right now, we're sticking with Nick Foles for all 5 years. We're going to make it work. The Pittsburgh Steelers for Aubrey Jones, giving us a 2022nd and a 7th. Thank you very much. Enjoy your new defensive tackle. And here we are at the midway point of year number 1, which is usually like the throwaway year. And we're 3-4. It's not bad. First year under Nick Foles. It's not terrible. We're only a game back here in the AFC South. But it looks like contract negotiations. We got Josh Allen, who's actually one of the better young kickers in the league, so we'll offer him a preliminary offer, which he does take. I'm not gonna lie, outside of that, we're looking pretty good on not having to spend any more money in-house. And at the end of the season, even though we had a big Week 17 divisional victory, 34-7 on the Houston Texans, it was too little too late, as we ended up finishing the season one game behind the 9-7 Colts for the AFC South title there, 8-8. Given the roster that we have, 8-8, you probably want to see a little bit better. We did have some decent development. Nick Foles up to an 85. Westbrook developed nicely, as did Cam Robinson on the offensive line. But, you know, 8-8, I don't think the Jags paid that kind of money for Nick Foles to go 8-8. But looking at the stats, if you didn't know the record, and you just said, Jags fans, in real life, Nick Foles finishes next year with almost 4,000 passing yards, 33 touchdowns to 13 picks, you're probably going to take that every day of the week. Running the ball, we got 1,100 yards, 3 touchdowns here from Leonard Fournette. Receiving, Marquise Lee had a big year, 84 catches, over 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns. We brought Julius Thomas in on a one-year deal as a free agency tight end. He actually had a really nice year. 704 from Dede. Keelan Cole, wasn't that great. Defensively, we got 130 tackles from Miles Jack. We got 9 sacks from Calais Campbell. Tackles for loss out the chain. Great run defense. And the picks, pretty good. Maybe a little bit more to Jalen Ramsey. I always kind of just think Jalen Ramsey could like 5 picks minimum every year. But, those numbers weren't that bad either. MVP went to Tom Brady. Ugh. We are in the AFC Offensive Player of the Year, went to Tom Brady. Nick Foles coming in at number 10. There we go. Defensive Player of the Year went to C.J. Mosley, with Miles Jack coming in at number 4. Offensive Rookie of the Year went to Baker Mayfield. Defensive Rookie of the Year went to Darius Leonard. So it stayed pretty much how it would have been in real life. Ronnie Harrison, like seeing that, coming in at number 9. So that's pretty much the throwaway here, because we do want to get to the actual 2019 draft to really start things off here. So let's jump into the offseason and next year make the playoffs. So taking a look at our draft recap, we didn't sign anyone in free agency. It was a pretty weak free agency class unless you needed a running back. So here's how our draft shaped up. So at pick 20 in the first round, we got TJ Hockenson, tight end from Iowa. 80 star dev. This guy's a beast, coming off of being awarded the best tight end in college last year. The Mackey Award comes in very well rounded, can block, can catch, is a good athlete. Might not be an elite athlete, that could be the potentially only knock on him, but he's as safe as a prospect as there is in this year's draft class. In the second round, we got Darnell Savage Jr., the free safety from Maryland, 75 quick. He's an elite athlete, 92 speed, 93 acceleration, pretty good in coverage as well, but definitely something we can have develop back there with Ronnie Harrison. Third round, we got Joanne Williams, corner from Vandy. Slipped some poor, he isn't very fast, but from a technical standpoint, he's pretty intriguing. We got our another tight end. We only had one tight end on the roster with Hockenson, so we got Foster Moreau from LSU. In the 5th round, we got some speed. We finished with the draft with some speed. 5th round, McCole Hardman from Georgia. And then the 6th round, we got Mark Fields, the slot corner from Clemson. But a very good draft where we found 2 brand new starters. And really, the only way it could have been better if we could have got a starting center at some point, but we'll have to pick up one. Probably have the scrap pile in free agency as we get ready for year number 2. Year 2 of the Nick Foles era is upon us. He's still at 85. He's still looking every bit of a franchise quarterback. As we look at our roster here, give me a second. There we go. Let's just fix it out here because Andrew Nora wasn't started for some reason. Offensive line looks decent. We still don't have a center whatsoever, but I mean, do we really need a center right now? But we, that is something we're going to try to fix this upcoming offseason, getting a center, really solidifying the offensive line. But we now have TJ Hockenson here, who also will help from a blocking standpoint as our starting tight end. Wide receivers remain the same. Fournette, Foles as our backfield. And on the defensive side, we got Darnell Savage Jr., our 2nd round pick, starting at free safety. And other than that, everything else remains exactly the same. 95% scheme fit defense. Plus, they got a lot of chemistry, a lot of cohesion. They're all remaining the same as we look to make a very legitimate playoff push here in year number 2. Midway point of year 2, not off to a good start. 2-5. Hey, we're not as bad as the Titans, but oh my God, the Colts and the Texans are going off. I don't even know if we had like a reasonable year, we'd be catching them right now. We're still developing. That's how we'll just view it at year 2. Looking at contracts, very expensive. Maybe this is another reason why we didn't spend any money in free agency last year, because we knew we had to keep these in-house signings. So Jalen Ramsey up first. We got him locked down. Yannick Ngakoue up second. We got to get him locked down. Miles Jack, got to get him locked down. Thank you very much. Keelan Cole is where we have to start making some tough decisions. We have a lot of depth at wide receivers, so I think for the time being, we're going to let Keelan Cole walk. Plus, his performance last year, it wasn't anything in particularly special. And at the end of year number 2, we got into the playoffs, 9-7, as we have to go on the road to the wild card round against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead. But our team is firing on all cylinders at this point. We know the defense is outstanding, but look at the offense. We got positives right now. Nick Foles and Marquise Lee are a tandem to be messed with. So the Texans kind of ran away with the division, but still really, really close. And it looked like at one point it's going to be between us and the Colts for that final wild card spot. And luckily enough, we were able to, I think we won like our last 4 to sneak into the playoffs. So they heat up at the right time. Nick Foles need you to be clutch. He's the most clutch QB in the AFC, not named Tom Brady, okay? So we got 4,100 passing yards, 30 touchdowns, 14 picks from Nick Foles. Not bad at all. 1,100 yards, 12 touchdowns from Fournette. We got another huge year from Marquise Lee. 96 catches, almost 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns. Good debut season for TJ Hockenson. 70 catches, 703. Dede had 607. Keelan Cole, 704. Chark, 505. Like, that is a good... There's a lot of depth to that wide receiving core. On the defensive side, Miles Jack led the team with 133 tackles, 10 TFLs, and 3 picks on the year. 7.5 sacks from Campbell, 7 from Talvin. Look at that, 22 tackles for loss. Like, does anyone even run against this team right now? Jalen Ramsey led the team with 4 interceptions, as he is now a 99 overall player. Look at the yearly awards. Matt Ryan won the MVP. In the AFC, Andrew Luck got the best player. We had nobody. Defensive player of the year went to CJ Mosley, with Miles Jack coming in at number 3. Offensive rookie of the year went to Dwayne Haskins, with TJ Hockenson coming in at 3. Foster Rowe at 10. Defensive rookie of the year went to Devin White, with Darnell Savage coming in at number 5. So some all right individual success, but ultimately we made the playoffs, which was obviously the first hurdle we had to get over. And now it is time to go into the wild card to take on Mr. Mahomes and the Chiefs. All right, let's go. Nothing like a Florida team playing in the snow to give you guys some hope. But hey, we're the big underdogs in this game, so we all know that helps in the sim a little bit from time to time. So it's 7-7. Both defenses playing relatively good. We are struggling here down the stretch. Can we get some points before half? And we do. We get a touchdown. Whether the Chiefs go down with like 10 seconds to get a touchdown right away. The damn near instant touchdown. But, hey, we got a safety to try to keep us in it. Our defense is exhausted at this point. Our offense is stuttering, and it's not looking good. It's not looking pretty, fellas. We go for it on 4th down. We don't get the conversion, and our 95 overall defense almost gives up 40 points as Patrick Mahomes throws for 5 touchdowns in a game that I just am done fucking explaining. And look at that call. Oh, it's this call. It's EA. It's EA Sports. Oh, no, I'm not saying anything nice about your game. After another pretty much free agency period, Keanu Neal was there. I was going to do a little thing about Keanu Neal, but it's kind of painful because, of course, the one time I want to get one of my favorite players, we absolutely don't need him at all. So we just had another, decent draft. That's how we had to add our players, acquire players. So in the first round of pick 22, we got Christian Fulton, corner from LSU. We need a 3rd corner on our roster. And, AJ Boye is going to probably start to regress sooner than later. So we got Fulton, who might be the best corner in next year's draft class. Definitely top 3, and he's a 79 quick. And then the second round, we got Marlon Davidson here at defensive tackle, 75 quick. Could be Marcel Darius' potential successor. Trey Adams, left tackle from Washington. He is a 75 quick. With that size, though, we might be able to slide him into one of the guard spots. Right now, off the top of my head, the plan could be to put him at one of the tackle, maybe move Brandon Leonard back to center. What I'm thinking is I might move him to right guard and then move AJ Cann, who's a right guard, into center. We got Jack Anderson here, who's a 71 quick dev. He also is a potential option at center. Then we finish up our draft by bringing in, see, look, even I can't fleece my own draft. I thought he had a good rating. We brought in KJ Costello, the quarterback from Stanford, to be Nick Foles' backup. The rest of the picks, we pretty much just traded them for future picks because, we want to have as many swings at those randomized Madden draft classes as humanly possible. So that being said, guys, let's jump into year number 3. We're here at year number 3, and our team is good. Question mark. I think it's pretty good. Offensive line is starting to come together. We added Trey Adams there. Hawkinson's is a monster. He's almost up into a 90 overall, which is dope. D.D. Westbrook is developing very nicely, along with Marquise Lee. DJ Chark, so they get a big bump up in snaps with us moving on from Keelan Cole. We got Leonard Fournette. Nick Foles is an 88. That's probably, I'm going to try my best to get him in the 90s, but I can only go as far as the sim will go. I have a feeling it would be tough to get him in the 90s because it's just... What is he at right now? How much XP? It takes 50,000 XP. So he's going to have a really good year for us to get that. And I don't know when the regression is going to start to kick in. Defensively, still very strong. Not a lot of changes here. We do see Marcel Darius is starting to regress. And we do have Marlon Davidson here. Do we think about the future of the franchise and do something like this? Think so? I think we'll do that. We'll do that live. We'll do it live, baby. We added Fulton here in the secondary along with Jalen Ramsey and AJ Boye. We have one of the best young secondaries in football, and our linebacking core is very nice. So I'm definitely expecting a playoff push here in year 3. And the midway of year number 3, coming out of a nice 17-9 victory week 8 over the Raiders. We're sitting atop the AFC South with a 5-3 record, trying to get our first AFC South title of the rebuild. Offense is into the 90s, 91 offense, 97 defense. Looking at contract negotiations, first up, we do have Calais Campbell. He is a player that is very old. He's a veteran at 34, but he does hold on to his rating very well. So we make sure we'll lock into that. Then we got Nick Foles, BDN, franchise quarterback. Get locked in with him. Leonard Fournette got a star dev. He's 88 in his prime. Get him locked up. D.D. Westbrook, 87 quick dev, one of our best wide receivers. Get him locked up. We have Jake Ryan, very versatile outside linebacker, 84 overall. I'm loving that all these guys are taking their contracts. Can we make it a clean sweep by getting Cam Robinson locked up? Which we do. Dwayne Smoot's always a tough one because I always feel like, if he was given the opportunity to start, he would be pretty decent. He's 78, he's 25. He's, in the right side of where you want to develop him. Unfortunately, he's not, it's just not good for the rebuild that he's stuck behind Calais Campbell. AJ Cann's not terrible for a center, but he was more so just flexed there because we had to. So I'm really happy with the in-house signing. Spent a lot of money, but we retained a lot of talent. At the end of year 3, lost. I'm glad I wasn't recording while I was simming. Literally felt like every tough game we lost. Didn't matter if it was home or away. We finished with an 8-8 record, 1 game behind the Houston Texans, who we were able to beat in week 17, but it was too little too late. Like literally every game that came on the schedule, I'm like, that could be a tough game. We got smoked. So very frustrating, but it is what it is. It's a Madden sim. Nick Foles was horrendous this year, and I mean that's being a little harsh, but for a guy that's almost a 90 overall quarterback, you need better numbers than that. That is not very good. Fournette was acceptable. He had, Marquise Lee had an all right year. Hockenson was all right. Defensively, Miles Jack, 138 tackles, 7 TFLs, 2 sacks, 2 picks, 9.5 sacks from Calais Campbell, 9 from Taven Bryan, 4 picks, Jalen Ramsey. It's just not good enough. So go on and get MVP. We're not going to have anybody there. I don't think we're going to have anyone show up on any of these lists. We don't deserve it either. Miles Jack coming in at number 2. Telvin Smith at number 8. Offensive Rookie of the Year with a Jonathan Taylor. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Christian Fulton coming in at number 2. So we did have some individual success, but I'm actually like, I need to just go clear my head for a sec, because that's every game. That was tough. You fucking lost. Just want to show this to you, so I'm not skipping every free agency period. Like, there's some interesting ones, like Shaquille Griffin being that good is kind of ridiculous. Same with Garyon Conley. But literally every free agency period, there hasn't been an upgrade to a position. Like, when you look at our team right now, we could use pretty much anyone on the offensive line. No one's an upgrade whatsoever. Defensively, we're stacked. We're absolutely stacked defensively. So, I'm not just skimming through all the free agency. There just hasn't been anyone. This is going into year 4. So, because we've been spending so much money in-house, we don't even have a huge budget. But maybe, just maybe, because let's be honest, this is going to a year 5 Super Bowl or bust. We know the writing's on the wall. Maybe there'll be an exciting free agent next year. So taking a look at our draft recap, we had a lot of picks in this year's draft. It started in the first round. We got B.J. Lowe, wide receiver from Kentucky. This pretty much was a BPA type draft anyways. He's a pretty nice looking prospect though. Then in the second round, one of these guys will be our starting center. I just don't know who yet. We got Justin Castro, 74 normal from Colorado. Pretty goddamn well-rounded, all things considered. And then we also got Frank Jett in the third round, guard from Arizona. He's a 75 normal. A little bit more of a power type player. 74 wide receiver in the fourth round, normal dev. So we didn't get any great dev traits. 75 D tackle in the fourth round. This was a whiff. And Kendrick Bell, 74 corner Frazier here out of Rhode Island in the fifth. We get a 71 quick tight end Lane Snyder out of Texas at 6. I mean, this guy would be actually pretty goddamn fun to use at 6'7", 260 quick dev, 84 speed. 71, just we just filled out the draft board. There wasn't a whole lot of depth. The depth traits weren't there, but ultimately between one of these two guys, we will have our new starting center, and really that was the only position we needed to upgrade. Year 4, the weird years, what we're always going to call it, as we head into it with our 91 overall team, 91 offense, 97 defense. Only change on the offensive side of the ball is Jet will be our new starting center. Other than that, everything else remains the same. And on the defensive side, we have Marlon Davidson here at D-tackle. No more Marcel Darius. Got his contract off the books. Christian Fulton is really developing into a nice corner, as is pretty much everyone in the secondary. Savage and Ronnie Harrison both are developing very nicely. We are starting to see a little bit of regression here for some of the veterans between Calais Campbell, AJ Boye. I think Jake Ryan went down one. Telvin Smith went down a couple, but still, everyone is playing at a high level, and this is a defensive first team. So we need BDN to lead us to a playoffs, but it's year 4, and this year, has been my Achilles heel in the rebuilds here in Madden 19. So I don't know what to expect. Midway point, 3-4. It does look like the Houston Texans are kind of running away with the division, but if we can get hot at the right time, we might be able to sneak into the playoffs. You're not really eliminated. You're not out of the playoff hunt. 3-4 midway of the season. Looking at contracts here, let's see what we got. We have an alright budget to be working with, so we'll start with AJ Boye on a 1-year deal. Whatever we have for contract negotiations has been outstanding here for the Jaguars, because I don't think we've even had to really come back to bid for more than one player every single year. Look at this. We're just lining them up and crossing them off here. Able to get him locked up. We can get Telvin Smith locked up for a 3-year deal. Okay, there we go. We got one guy that's kind of hanging up here. We'll keep DJ Chark. He's been all right if we'll take that deal. If not, okay, he could definitely go pound sand. We'll make sure we can hammer out a deal with Telvin Smith, and then we'll take whatever little bit of cap we have left to try to make one big move this upcoming offseason. At the end of year 4, we came last in the AFC South. Nick Foles' numbers were okay. Leonard Fournette had a decent year, 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns. Hockenson went over 1,000 yards. D.D. Westbrook, 10 touchdowns. I like seeing that. Of course, DJ Chark, the year that we don't re-sign him, he has a breakout season. That's the nature of the beast. Miles Jack has been phenomenal. Solid stats throughout. Taven Bryant, 10.5 sacks, which is huge. Those are big-time numbers from a defensive tackle. One of the best young defensive tackles in the league. Turnovers are decent. Looking at the quick look here, the yearly awards, Sean Watson won the MVP. I don't think we're going to have very many people on Lee's list. Maybe Miles Jack, who usually shows up here at some point, and he's coming all the way down at number 9. It's not very good. It's year 4 of a rebuild. Let's get into year 5 Super Bowl bust. We should just skip year 4 every year. I'm almost getting to that point. All right, so looking at bringing in 2 players here in our final free agency period. First up, Tyler Lockett at wide receiver. I don't think I've used him in any rebuilds. Adds a lot of speed, which is really what we need with D.D. Westbrook and Marquise Lee. And then we got Noah Spence on the defensive line. Calais Campbell has hit that wall bad. He's a 78, so bringing in a guy like Noah Spence. Shout out to Pink Slips in Madden 18. He was a beast there. These would be 2 nice little pieces to help us try to make a year 5 Super Bowl push. So in free agency, we were able to get both Noah Spence and a wide receiver. It wasn't Tyler Lockett, but we got James Washington, who still is a nice upgrade. And then looking at our draft, I'm not going to lie, I made the first 2 picks, and I just simmed it out because it didn't really make a whole lot of sense. And we got some nice-ish players. Oh, definitely not that one. In the first round of pick 4, we got Will Allison, outside linebacker, to come in and challenge Jake Ryan. He's an 80 quick from Texas. Really nice-looking prospect. Second round, we got Lawrence Carman, wide receiver from Vandy, 76 normal. A little bit of an older prospect, but pretty refined. Marquise Green was the 3rd-round pick out of App State. Small speedster, as you can see with that 93 speed. Then just pretty much building depth through the rest of the draft. So, hey, let's go. Year 5, Super Bowl or bust time. We need that BDE, BDN energy. Year 5, Super Bowl or bust time. We are a very stacked team. I would probably like to say, at worst, like a top 8 team in the league right now. 92 overall, 93 offense, 97 defense. As far as changes on the offense, we're going pretty much exactly the same. We brought in James Washington from the Pittsburgh Steelers in free agency. Other than that, Nick Foles has held on to his rating very well throughout this rebuild, as has Andrew Norwell and Brandon Linder. Hawkinson's one of the best tight ends in football, now being a 94 overall. Defensively, still the bread and butter of the Jacksonville Jaguars. In terms of changes, we brought in Noah Spence through free agency. Everything else will remain pretty much the same. I wish we could change up the linebacking core. We'll go with our number 4 pick overall in the draft, the rookie Allison out of Texas. Over Ryan. That's why the secondary is good. Darnell Savage has developed nicely. Jalen Ramsey's the best corner in football. And yeah, man, fingers crossed. And we got another 99 on the defense in Mr. Miles Jack. So I'm expecting, year 5 usually works out well for us historically. I mean, sometimes we do these whole rebuilds. We don't even get any gameplay because we don't make the playoffs. We did make the playoffs once already, but we didn't actually get to hop in and play with Nick Foles, which is really the whole reason why I want to do this. I'm feeling 10 wins, a 10-win wild card. Like, we're going to have to go and win that extra game if we really want to win the Super Bowl here with the Jags. But I'm definitely going to be very disappointed if we don't make the playoffs. And if it's looking like we're not, I'll stop for week 17 so we can at least get one game in with Mr. Nick Foles. All right, just a quick update. Midway point, we're 7-1. Don't know where this has been throughout this whole rebuild, but okay, I'm just showing you this because, usually for the final year, we just go right to the playoffs. But I just want to show you this in case there's an epic collapse that at one point in this season, we were 7-1. And at the end of the season, we got ourselves a first-round bye. We were 7-1. There was some slip-ups here and there. We finished 12-4 on the year, which is, I'll take that. I'll take that. Especially because how much of a logjam it was. If we had just an average record, there's a legitimate shot we wouldn't have even made the playoffs here. So, let's actually just sim an extra week here to find out who we're taking on in the AFC divisional round, and it will be Mr. Le'Veon Bell in the 9-7 Jets. Let's upgrade our players real quick. Oh, it's definitely Kendrick Bell. Yeah, for sure. Let's upgrade that guy. Let's take a look at our stats as we get ready for a playoff one. I'm actually very excited to finally play with Nick Foles. Almost 3,900 passing yards, 31 touchdowns to 6 picks for Nick Foles. So, clearly him being the focal point of this rebuild. His stats as it came to Jacksonville, pretty damn good. I mean, if you told Jag fans that over 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't know what the actual contract is in real life, but let's just say over 5 years, 3, 6, 9, he'd have well over 100, we'll call it 110 touchdowns, 10, 20, 30, 40. If he had a 2-to-1 touchdown to pick ratio with over 100 total touchdowns, I think almost every Jacksonville Jaguar fan would be ecstatic. Because, I mean, with those kind of numbers, Nick Foles would have to be regarded as one of the best quarterbacks Jacksonville's ever had. I mean, you got Mark Brunell, like David Garrard, Byron they don't have, I don't think there's ever been a great quarterback. I mean, Brunell had some decent seasons back when they had like Keenan McCardell and Jimmy Smith. But I think, just looking at history, Nick Foles probably regarded as the best quarterback the Jags ever had from a statistical standpoint. Running the ball, 1,200 yards, 11 tutties for Fournette, who's been very good for this rebuild. Again, need to remind you, I had injuries turned off, so that's why he's been putting up those kind of numbers. D.D. Westbrook, a huge year here, 85 catches, 1,100 yards, 13 tutties. And on the defensive side, Miles Jack, my God, Miles Jack has been good. 147 tackles, 9 TFLs, 3.5 sacks, 5 picks, outstanding. Ngakoue got 11 sacks, leading the team. A decent amount of turnovers here. Quick look at the yearly awards. MVP went to Ezekiel Elliott. We had nobody. Did we get Coach of the Year? Of course not. AFC Offensive Player of the Year went to Patrick Mahomes. We had Nick Foles coming in at number 10. Defensive Player of the Year went to Miles Jack, rightfully so. That was an outstanding year. One of the better years we've seen in a rebuild from a defensive player, especially a linebacker. So with that being said, fellas, finally, I can play with Mr. Nick Foles here in the AFC divisional round as we take on Le'Veon Bell and the New York Jets at home. Oh, let's go. Broken play. D.D. Westbrook, your only thing you have is speed. Don't get caught. There we go. Nick Foles with the dime to D.D. Westbrook as the Jags retake the lead. Oh, let's go. Too easy, Nick. Oh, come on. How's it not in? First and goal after I think personally we should have challenged that. You can't challenge. I think Fournette, he's as built as any running back to run the C4 special. Height, weight, speed. Thank you very much as we regain the lead as we go into halftime. Unbelievable. If that's not scripted, I don't know what is. All right, we got to run to verticals after 3 straight drops. This isn't game. We might get the ball back, but it's pretty much game. So we need Nick Foles to step up in the clutch. We get a pretty clean pocket and coverage sack. No one got open. Couldn't throw any anticipation throws. And that is most likely going to round this game up as, thank God, this is the, oh shit, we tied it up. Let's go, computer. All right, we got a 35-yard field goal to win it. Oh, for the love of God, don't mess this up. Come on. Oh, I'm not trash for once. The Jags are moving on to the AFC Championship game. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Nick Foles, 345 yards, outdueled Sam Darnold. D.D. Westbrook and Leonard Fournette both had pretty strong games as we're going on to the championship game. Oh, what a play. Nick Foles. I love it. And look at this drive, taking up almost the whole first quarter. How do you stop Patty Mahomes? You keep him off the field. First and goal on the 2. C4 special works to perfection as the Jags take the lead here in the AFC Championship. Shout out to those goddamn John Henderson, Fred Taylor unis too. Throwbacks. Life's good. Life's good. Fournette's good. Oh, look at the fight. Look at the fight, dude. Is that Washington? James Washington showing the fight to go through 3 tacklers to get that into the end zone. And just like that, that big-time James Washington touchdown was just enough, plus a lot of turnovers, very bad performance from the Kansas City Chiefs offense. And the Jags are going to the Super Bowl, and you know if Nick Foles just even gets a sniff that he's going to be headed towards the Super Bowl, you know that clutch BDN is going to be coming out, and that's what I expect to see in 2 weeks' time. As we move past the Kansas City Chiefs, 26-14. Leonard Fournette was the all-star today, 92 yards, 2 touchdowns, but Nick Foles did the job he needed to do to get this team to the Super Bowl. All right, we got a big 3rd and 4 here in the Super Bowl against a team Nick Foles is very familiar with in the New York Giants. Down 3-zip. Let's go. Oh, let's go, white guy. Random white guy with a nice 14-yard reception to bring us up into the red zone. Jags are driving. Oh, let's go. And he throws it to Fabian Moreau. He was the random white guy that made it. Plays not random at all. Might be one of the most underrated tight ends in the 2019 NFL Draft. It's a huge, huge touchdown reception. Pull the Jags ahead. And did I say Fabian? Did I say Fabian or Foster Moreau? I can't remember. Fabian Moreau's the corner on the Redskins. And because that catch was so sick, and he gets a dope block to set the edge, it's Foster Moreau, everybody. My apologies. Oh my God, let's go Leonard Fournette. You're a machine. You're a machine. You don't get caught from behind, which he does not. Takes it to the house, 58 yards. Jags are unstoppable at the moment. Oh my. MVP right here. Leonard Fournette's unstoppable. He's going to get 200 yards and like 4 touchdowns in the Super Bowl. All right, we're here at the 2-minute warning. My kid's getting off school in 2 seconds. So I feel like I have, I've earned the right to close this one out as the Jacksonville Jaguars win the Super Bowl in the 5th year of the rebuild, the 2nd Super Bowl in the history for Nick Foles. It's what we all wanted. And while for once in my life, here in Madden 19, I would love to win a Super Bowl, not in year 5 every time. If it's gonna happen. Like, I think we might have had 2 or 3 rebuilds throughout this entire year that we've won the Super Bowl earlier than year 5, but for the most part, I don't know what it is. I don't know why year 4 is always random. I don't know why year 5 seems to go in my user team's favor, but I won't complain because ultimately results are what matter, and this was a very, very positive result. I will say though, tinfoil hat theory, that, and I really kind of want to look at feedback here in the comments. Do you guys notice that the team that, like, there's always 1 or 2 teams, it's not always either the Redskins or Dolphins, that seem to sign like the big name free agents, they always go deep in the playoffs. And I know you could logically say, well, before they added a lot of talent, clearly they should win more games, but like, I just looked at this team here on the Giants. They had, like, over the last 2 years, like when we get into year 3, 4, and 5, like the biggest free agents. They had Rashawn Evans, 90-plus linebacker. J.J. Watt was on their team. They had another really, who do they have? Antonio Callaway, wide receiver. He's a 90-plus wide receiver. I just think that's a common trend that we see. But I don't know if anyone else has seen that out there. I feel like it could be something that goes into scripting. But look at that. Let him hoist it. Mr. BDN. Getting yourself a Super Bowl. So there you guys are watching the rebuild here of the Jags. Is it the last rebuild of Madden 19? Don't know. Honestly, don't know. But if it is, I thank all you guys for watching. And it might not be. Who knows? But as always, we'll just wrap it up. We'll leave it, open-ended. Is it the last? Is it not the last? Let it simmer. But if it is your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.
Yeah. Money I'm spending, I'm out and I'm shopping. You talking that shit, well you talking and talking. Look at my options, look at me dropping. Ass in the game, like who are you stopping? Not me, not me, not never. Not me, not me, not never. Not me, not me, not never. I'm way too clever. Look at the kid, Mr.